If you live in California and you turned 18, you can legally purchase a firearm, but under certain circumstances. In the United States, federal law states that people above the age of 18 but under 21 can purchase rifles and shotguns. However, states can impose stricter laws than federal law, and in California, as you can probably guess, there's many restrictions on what you can purchase and own when it comes to firearms at the age of 18. There are many great videos on the subject that even I watched before purchasing my first firearm at 18 years of age. However, I wanted to make this video because I felt like a lot of the videos didn't go too much into detail about the subject. I'm going to cover how you can complete and report an intrafamilial transfer, and how you as an individual can get your hunting license and all the necessary things to purchase a firearm. I'll be going through a lot of things, and please forgive me if I info dump, but there will be timestamps below in the description. So here are the rules in California. Before you do anything, you must complete a firearms safety certificate exam. Once you pass this exam with at least a 75%, you'll receive your FSC. An FSC is valid for 5 years, and if it expires and you plan on purchasing or receiving a firearm, you have to renew it. You can get your FSC at a local gun store, for example, and I highly recommend not going to a Turner's. At the age of 18, you can purchase anything but a centerfire semi-automatic long gun, handgun, and certain parts. This limits you to only being able to purchase lever-action rifles, single-shot rifles, muzzleloader rifles, pump-action shotguns, break-action shotguns, semi-automatic rimfire rifles, and bolt-action rifles. However, believe it or not, you're actually able to own and possess California legal firearms that are outside of this list. This includes handguns, but only under the circumstances that you receive it as a gift from a direct family member. This would be called an intrafamilial transfer. Otherwise, in order to purchase a firearm, you would need a valid, unexpired hunting license. While you wouldn't need the hunting license after you turn 21, it's required for you to have both a valid hunting license and an FSC in order to purchase firearms at the age of 18. Like the FSC, you wouldn't need to renew your hunting license unless you plan to purchase a firearm. If you have any prior 5150s or past mental health issues, then you wouldn't be able to purchase a firearm for 5 years since the 5150. Sometimes certain findings can create a lifetime ban, and multiple holds can lead to longer prohibitions. Now, if you have a juvenile criminal history, you might be shit out of luck. Now, this is a whole another subject. I could talk about this subject for hours, but I'll explain it in less than 5 minutes. If you don't have any juvenile criminal history, I recommend you skip to this timestamp on screen. Please understand that I'm not a lawyer, and I'll try my best to not make any mistakes when I talk about this subject. So far, this is how I understand the law when it comes to juvenile convictions and firearms. California Penal Code 29820 states that if you were found to have committed an offense listed in WIC section 707 at the age of 16 years or older, you'd be prohibited from owning a firearm until you're at the age of 30 years old. Assembly Bill 383 further clarifies that juvenile adjudications lead to firearm prohibitions. In other words, if you were found guilty, then you're prohibited from owning firearms until you're 30 years old. It also doesn't matter if your record is sealed or if your case is dismissed. A sustained adjudication and conviction triggers a ban. In a nutshell, if you committed any of these crimes on the screen at the age of 16 years or above, then you're shit out of luck, and you'll need to wait until you're the age of 30 to purchase a firearm. I do have to warn you guys that having a record regardless would most likely come with its own headaches, like getting delayed and undetermined, and in some rare cases, a denied DEROS result. If you have any further questions or you don't remember what happened during your juvenile history, then please talk to a lawyer. There's many out there, and I recommend talking to someone who specializes in juvenile law in California. Now, if you've been gifted a firearm from a direct family member, for example, your grandparents or your parents, then you'd be able to accept that gift without having to go through any waiting period at the age of 18. Now, keep in mind, you can't start an intrafamilial transfer with someone like your uncle, sibling, or your distant cousin. Usually, you shouldn't need a guide for this since your parent or grandparent would be there to help you report the transfer to the DOJ, but I'm going to explain it anyways. First, after receiving the firearm, you don't need to report the transfer immediately, but you'll need to report the transfer to the DOJ within 30 days of taking possession. To report the transaction, you can either do two things. You can fill out the California State Form BOF 4544A and mail it to the California DOJ, or you can do it online via CFARS. To do it through CFARS, you can simply just click the button for California Reporting Information System, or CRIS, and report of intrafamilial firearm transaction. There, you would fill out and upload all the necessary documents like proof of residence, a reason for FSC exemption if it applies to you. After you fill out everything, you can pay the $19 fee and you're all done. If you want to purchase a firearm at 18, you need to have a valid FSC and a hunting license, assuming you're not prohibited from owning firearms. Here are the things you'll be able to purchase and what you wouldn't be able to purchase on screen. So, how do you get your hunting license? First, you need to go to this website and create a Go ID. There, you need to purchase the Hunter Education Class pre-registration, which costs $0. This just makes sure that your Go ID doesn't expire and becomes permanent. Your Go ID would then be used for your hunting education and your hunting license. You can do your hunter's education in person or through an online hybrid course. If you decide to take your hunter's education in person, then your instructor will go through everything in the course and you can ask as many questions as you want. On the other hand, if you take the course online, you'll have to complete small quizzes, a final exam, and complete an in-person class with another exam at the end of it. For me, all the quizzes had to have a passing grade of 80%, same with the online final exam and in-person exam. Once you complete your hunter's education, you can purchase a hunting license at a place that prints them, like a Big 5 or Bass Pro Shop, for example. Once you have both your hunting license and your FSC, and necessary proof of residence like a real ID, you can go to your local gun shop and purchase your firearm. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or want to share any thoughts, feel free to leave them in the comments. Keep in mind, the law can change, and this video is up to date as of 2026. Have fun and stay safe. Goodbye.